I told you guys I would stop watching this show and doing videos, but it was a good topic for discussion. Mr. Chris Broussard was on the show, so I wanted to hear it out and give my take as well. So basically, LeBron James and Michael Jordan, people have been pushing that GOAT debate for the past decade or so, and it's getting somewhat legitimate year after year when LeBron would win a championship. So back in 2016, LeBron James won his third chip. He was 31 years of age, and with Michael Jeffrey Jordan was 31 years of age as well, he won his third championship. Let alone that was a three-peat, but they are both very similar in age. LeBron had seven finals appearances, and Michael Jordan had three, based on his three titles. So it was a good discussion back into 2016 based on their ages and where they're at in their careers at the time. Then it's been around 3, 4 seasons. LeBron hasn't won a championship then. But now in 2020, LeBron racked up his fourth NBA championship. This is his third franchise, let alone a 17th season. So it's a peculiar situation right now. LeBron looks like he's got another 3, 4 seasons left in the tank. Now, this could be a top five player. He can play pretty much the point guard as he's transitioned. He's pretty much deceived and blinded people to believe he is still that great of a player, which he is. But instead of being a small forward and pretty much a scorer, LeBron James has taken on the full-time point guard, responsibilities and position to where his ball usage is higher as ever. That's why he's cranked up a career high of 12 assists in the regular season. And the ball is always in his hands. So pretty much, if he's not scoring, he can pretty much kick it off for assists, plays LeBron James type system. But now you have Anthony Davis. So with an automatic top three, top five scorer in the league with AD, LeBron's going to rack up those assists. So LeBron's pretty much, he can play that point guard position like a Magic or a Jason Kidd, pretty much until he's in his 40s or so. But he's at 4 chips right now. MJ finished off at 6. LeBron pretty much has around 3, 4 seasons left in the tank. If we've seen, he wants to change. He pretty much wants to go and chase Kareem Abdul-Jabbar all time for amount of points. LeBron James pretty much would have to have another 3, 4 seasons for that to happen. So we all know LeBron's going for that number one spot. And he's going to have to use longevity and a couple other stats to, quote-unquote, be the GOAT and surpass Jordan. But we're going to kick it here on Speak For Yourself, and we're going to see what their take is, how LeBron can either be the GOAT, let alone eye for eye with MJ.
The LeBron guy, again, and when you learn and read books like The Art of War, you understand you better know your enemy's approach to know your best approach. The Jordan approach is very simple, coming from Jordan stance. LeBron hasn't won enough. So what does LeBron need to do to be seen eye to eye? You have to win in the postseason. He needs one more. One more finals and finals MVP, and LeBron will be seen eye to eye.
Well, real quickly, if LeBron... Okay, well, let me rephrase. Before this NBA season, I had LeBron James number 5 all-time on my rankings. He was pretty close up there with Larry Bird. And behind Larry Bird, I did have Shaq and Tim Duncan, yada, yada, yada. But LeBron was my number 5 slot. I've always said the Lakers would win the 2020 chip, and he would win Finals MVP. That was the case. So around a week or two ago, the Lakers won the championship. LeBron racked up his 4th championship all time and his 4th Finals MVP. Now, since LeBron did win this championship, I did leapfrog him over Magic Johnson, which was, it's a sad thing to do, but LeBron James now entered in my Mount Rushmore of the NBA alongside with MJ, Kareem, and Bill Russell. Now, LeBron, I will give him this. He's the only player with MJ to have 4 Finals MVPs or higher or more. Back in the day in the 60s, they didn't count it for Bill Russell. They didn't track it, so that's to be determined. But LeBron's in that elite category with MJ and himself when it comes to Finals MVPs, which is a good part for him. But if LeBron were to win his 5th championship, which right now I'm expecting to happen for the 2021 NBA season with him and AD, I expect LeBron to rack up another Finals MVP and another championship. I expect them probably right now to beat most likely the Boston Celtics. I doubt the Nets will get there next season in the finals. I think in 2022 for sure, the Nets. But just kind of throwing out early predictions, nothing settled, just kind of freestyling. Basically, my point is if LeBron wins his 5th chip, 5th Finals MVP, I will leapfrog him over Bill Russell and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar all time, and he will be my 2nd greatest player of all time. He would not be my GOAT. No, he would still not be my GOAT. But on my end, LeBron James needs If LeBron can rack up a three-peat, I will have still Michael Jordan number 1, LeBron James number 2. But if someone were to debate on him and MJ, I would not mind it whatsoever. I think it could be a lot closer than what people would say. And that's not me being petty. Michael Jordan three-peated twice. He won 6 championships in 7 seasons. He put the bar so high, pretty much perfection, that it's so hard for someone to overcome it. But I've always stated, if LeBron racks up 7 championships all time, it'll be tough to get 7 Finals MVPs. But if he gets 7 championships, I'm going to put him over MJ. He's going to have more chips, but let's see how long LeBron can play the longevity game, being effective, and kind of cover from there. But I'm not going to jump the gun. Let's jump back here.
I see it as very simple. There is a pendulum. There is a seesaw, if you will. And right now, Jordan is still carrying the majority of the weight by about 5-10% because of those 6 finals MVPs, no Game 7s. LeBron, statistically, regular season, has Jordan beat in literally every single category. Show me.
Well, I'm going to stop you there. Michael Jordan averaged 30 to 35 points a game easily, over 50% shooting from the field. He had 10 scoring titles, and Michael Jordan had 5 regular season MVPs. Debated, it could have been 6, 7, or 8. We'll kind of leave it as it is. But Michael Jordan was all-time great. He was number 1 all defense, number 1 all NBA, and he had one of the greatest teams of all time. He had a 69-win team. He had a 72-win team of 96. And then he had a 70-win team. So, no, sir. Michael Jordan has been far greater than LeBron James in the regular season, let alone his peak was better.
Rings, if we got the full screen, let's see it. But LeBron has Jordan beat in every statistical category, Marcellus. Points, LeBron has more of. Rebounds, LeBron has more of. Assists, LeBron has more of. So LeBron, during the regular season, a better player. But what do we talk about?
No, sir. LeBron James is not a better regular season player than Michael Jordan. LeBron in his peak, when he went back to Miami, for example, in let's just say 2018, LeBron James will bring anarchy to your franchise. He pretty much will play his own system. He will be le GM. He will be le coach. He would trade away your coach. He would trade away the role players. He would try to be buddy-buddy with you. And if you don't pretty much defer to his system, he will trade you away. And that's pretty much, I've seen so many times, day after day, the Lakers or the Cavs or the Heat, they would lose 3 or 4 in a row. Anarchy's up in the way. And LeBron James is pretty much in that stressful, chaotic environment. Whenever it came to Michael Jordan, he would have all-time great teams, win over 60 wins, 70 wins in the regular season, and they did not look back. No, sir, LeBron James was not greater all-time in the regular season than Mr. Michael Jordan, especially in his peak. No.
Talk about chips when we talk about greatest, and right now, Jordan still has LeBron because he has more chips. If LeBron just gets 5, he doesn't need to get 6 to be seen eye to eye. 5 is eye to eye for me. 6, he surpasses Jordan because he surpassed him in the regular season. That's where I'm at.
No. LeBron, if he were to rack up 6 chips, he would not pass Michael Jordan all time. I know a lot of cats are going to use, he's number 1 all-time scoring, passing Kareem. He's made twice as many NBA Finals. That still would not put him over Michael Jordan. Now, I would like to hear that debate. I'm cool with it. It's fine. But that's not going to be the case. We still to be determined if LeBron can get to 6 rings, let alone another 2 Finals MVPs. And I've always stated with you cats, ever since he won the 2020 chip, I told him, don't be surprised if the NBA goes out to where it's designed to the Lakers will three-peat. LeBron's an all-time great. If they want him to be the quote-unquote GOAT, they need the GOAT to three-peat. Kobe did it. MJ did it. Bill Russell did it. Shaq did it. And there's a couple other players that couldn't do it. Larry Bird could not. Magic could not. Isaiah couldn't. Steph Curry couldn't. But I think if they're really going to push LeBron to be the GOAT, they're going to push for him to three-peat, and he'll finish off with 6 rings. Now, I'm not going to jump the gun on that. I told you guys I pretty much have the Lakers to win 2021 as of right now. And if they're going to win 2021, they're going to win the 2022 chip. I don't know. The NBA, it's an entertainment league. You got to remember that, guys. There's stuff in the background. I'm not saying it's scripted or rigged, but I'm not. Because I'm a fan of the game. But I don't know. We'll play it ear by ear when it comes to it.
I'm going to say to be seen eye to eye with Michael Jordan, you have to do more than just win. And the winning will certainly close the gap. But then their conversation, you can hear it. Look in the back of the barbershop. They talking about, he ain't clutch. He ain't clutch. Like, am I right? Am I right? And then what did he do? He gave them more ammunition, even in the finals when he passed the ball out. And then you saw Danny Green, who still looks like he needs to stretch and warm up even in the fourth quarter. Like, his legs don't straighten all the way out.
The way Danny Green be running be killing me.
Bro, Danny Green is always so stiff. I mean, this man never stretches. This man just hobbles up the court. Hey, Danny Green's got 3 chips, so as being the starting shooting guard, so I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
Like, warm up, dude. All right. So Danny Green, and then what did they immediately turn to? See, LeBron
Jordan wouldn't have passed
Jordan
it.
would have passed. Perfect basketball play. Who cares? Make this shot. And Jordan would have taken that shot, and they want LeBron to take it. So that's 2, how you have to be seen eye to eye. So on the court, in summation, LeBron needs to win more, show that he's clutch for those people out there who are still pausing at that. But also remind them that my Laker years are Jordan's Wizard years. And how did the Jordan Wizard years go so far compared to the Lakers year?
Well, MJ being 40 years old and 39 pretty much racked up over 25 points a game to 23 in that range. He had a couple 40-point games his last season, and he never had an Anthony Davis or another star player. Now, that is on MJ because he did decide to go to the Wizards, who were a bum franchise, thinking that he would be the owner whenever he would to retire, which wasn't the case. The Wizards GM and the owner pretty much screwed over MJ. Is what it is. But for LeBron James, having Anthony Davis is a huge help. And LeBron is an impact player. He will carry your franchise, bring it from a losing state to a winning state. You got to remember, he's got AD.
Here's with LeBron. LeBron can win that edge right there because no one counted Jordan Wizard years when he had no competition as the GOAT. But you know, in any competition, what do we have to do? Start splitting hairs. Jordan, I know you got a pass for those. That was when there was no other GOAT in the conversation. Now we got GOATs. Oh, we bringing them Wizard years back up. Off the court, if you're LeBron James, you have to continue to do the right things in terms of messaging.
No, sir. When it comes to the GOAT debate, that has nothing to do with off the court. Nothing. And with LeBron, he's trying to be the quote-unquote GOAT, not just based on the court, but off the court. And that's not going to work. I know what you're doing. He's trying to be a quote-unquote Muhammad Ali type figure. He is not even close to it whatsoever. I don't want to hear off the court when you talk about the greatest basketball player. No, sir. And that's a smokescreen for you cats.
In terms of criticism, one off the court. Last one is LeBron. You got to get your cultural relevance up, not your popularity. It's different.
What you mean? Talk to me on that. Expound.
Jordan somehow, some way, maybe with just Nike, as simple as that, maybe because he was first, he got cats out there feeling like they better once they put his shoes on still. Like, it's crazy. I like LeBron's shoes. I love Kobe's the best. But then I put on LeBron's, they feel good, they look great, and then I walk around and cats are like, oh, those LeBron's. But I put on some...
Well, yeah, just like with Steph Curry and MJ, they're more relatable to NBA players and basketball players as well. You can try to be a guard, to shoot threes, pull up a mid-range jumper, work on your handles, have that dog in you. You know what I'm saying? Whenever it comes to LeBron James, he's a different type of cat. He's a building block. He's kind of like a football type player, and no one else is 6'9", who's as big and strong as him. Now, if you're Steph Curry, very relatable to this generation of young cats. People can work on their handles. They can pull up, come off screens, and hit the long three and work on their three-pointers. With MJ, the mid-range game, the hang time, you know, and especially with their shoes, it gives that comfort. It gives that design. No one out here is going to get some bronze like that and play ball with them. It's not the way it works.
Days, people will stop me. Yo, you got the 22s on. Oh, no, those are 11s. And I'm like, wait a minute. It's that impact to have people give you that reaction.
Let me ask you this, bro, because we have to go there real quick.
Okay.
I don't know if that's possible nowadays because of how saturated the market is.
I give you that.
Remember, back in the late 80s, even when you're talking about artists, when you're talking about the Michael Jacksons of the world, saturation was not as relevant. It was not.
And I'll have her Nike on, Nike spin. And then one day, she was like, you know, I want some Lululemon. I was like, Lululemon? Why you want Lululemon? You always Nike'd out. And Lululemon, in the workout fitness world, made their mark. LeBron got to find a way to make his mark, even though Big Nike is there, and they're never going away. You got to make your mark. And I don't see LeBron making this cultural relevance mark the same way.
Today, very sharp today. The way you just so nonchalantly, matter-of-factly said, LeBron's been better in the regular season.
Yeah,
what?
Statistically.
I mean,
Thank you, Miss Hard. Go get him.
you just put up total stats. Of course, put up averages, all right? You can't put up total points. LeBron's played, what, 4 or 5 more years than Jordan did?
Whose fault
Give
is
me
that,
the
CB?
per game.
Whose fault is that?
He don't have Jordan beat in
Someone
the
didn't need to
stats
retire.
like that.
Someone
So
didn't
he
need to
got
retire.
rebounds.
Twice.
He got assists. He don't have steals. He don't have points. So come on. But anyway, let me get to it. Here's the answer. LeBron has to win the next 2. LeBron has to win the next 2 championships.
Win.
Well, yeah, I've stated that because I doubt LeBron could play another 5, 6, 7 seasons and be a Finals MVP type player and lead him to a chip. So I agree with CB the next 2. But let's just say LeBron wins, this championship in 2021, and then he racks up another 2 championships, 2024 and 2026. So LeBron James right there pretty much would have 7 championships all time. Again, like I said, if LeBron gets 7 chips, I'm going to make him the GOAT. I doubt he's going to get 7. I don't know if that's in play. I think in 6, that's where he's going to land off as. I can see this to be with the NBA as a three-peat. So based on timeline and everything and era, I think the next 2 years are going to go to the Lakers, leading a three-peat for LeBron James, and to secure pretty much as either the GOAT or number 1 all 2 with him and MJ. So
Giving him a three-peat. Yes. No, the next 2.
Wow.
Because here's the deal. Hold on.
Go ahead, CB.
Let me explain.
Go ahead,
please. Let me explain. And I'm not.
real quick, the NBA's done LeBron dirty so many years. I think this is the era where they're going to give it to him to where he's going to win. He's not going to lose anymore. And this is me not being objective. This is me just kind of seeing things in the background and how things play out. I think this is the era to where LeBron's in LA now. He got a star player. They're gonna allow him to win now. And falling to next season in the Western Conference, he's not going to lose to the Clippers. He's not going to lose to the Warriors. Now, the Warriors are that dynasty-type team, but LeBron would always lose to the Warriors because his second fiddle was Kyrie and his third was Kevin Love. And Kyrie's a guard. But his second fiddle now is Anthony Davis. I mean, the Warriors, they're not going to be able to stop a 6'9" and a 7-footer who are top 5 in the league. Or actually, yeah, LeBron's number 1 in the league. Anthony Davis is probably number 6 or 7. Probably number 7. But you're not going to be able to stop that link with the Lakers as they're going to slow things down. I think this is the Lakers' mojo. This is their era. This is for LeBron James. I do not see him losing. I don't know.
This is not to be the kinder, gentler eye to eye. This is kind of to surpass him in most people's eyes.
Okay.
Here's why I say the next 2, which is hard to do. We talk about Jordan's 6 rings like, yeah, he won 6. But hold on. He did more than win 6. Do you know how hard it is to do a three-peat? Here's how hard. In the last 54 years, there have only been.
We believe in good we can all afford. From coffee that opens more eyes to black business to 100 shades of beautiful.
3 of them. And Jordan's got 2 of them. And the other one, it took 2 top 10 players of all time to link up Shaq and Kobe to get the other one. LeBron, even with Wade and Bosh, didn't get a three-peat. Tim Duncan never even repeated, let alone three-peat. It's that the Showtime Lakers didn't three-peat. The Bird Celtics didn't repeat. Like, it is hard. He won 6 and 2 three-peats. So LeBron has to three-peat. Here's the second thing.
What else?
And I'll let you go. I see y'all. I see y'all tripping.
Sweat.
And Marcellus Wiley still has LeBron as the GOAT.
All right? Here's the other one, Acho, because I got my man Marcellus on my side.
Hell yeah.
Other thing, Acho, has LeBron, let's keep it real.
Keep it real.
Are any of LeBron's teams, are any of them like the all-time great teams?
No, sir, they are not. The greatest LeBron James of all time was the 2013 Miami Heat. That was peak LeBron James at 28 years of age. That was the greatest LeBron James of all time. He won his third regular season MVP, his second finals MVP. He should have won Defensive Player of the Year award, but they gave it to Marc Gasol, who made second team all defense, which makes zero sense whatsoever. But that 2013 Miami Heat team, they won 27 games in a row, which was top 5 all-time record in the rankings, something like that. They won 66 games, and when it comes to a LeBron James team, he's only won 66 games twice in his career, which was the most amount of wins. In 2009 with the Cavaliers, when he had, Egauskas out there, Mo Williams, and a bunch of yada, yada, yada guys. And then the 2013 Miami Heat, which we're talking about. So that was LeBron James' greatest team of all time. That was not an all-time great team to an extent of the 96 Bulls, the 84 Celtics, the 2016 Warriors, and some of these other great teams all time. That Miami Heat team, that kind of quote-unquote mini dynasty, was a second-tier all-time great team, not a first-tier. And like I said before, with Michael Jordan, he had all-time great teams. The 96 Bulls are arguably and is the greatest team of all time. And LeBron James, if you're quote-unquote trying to be the GOAT or are the GOAT, if you don't have one of those greatest teams of all time, that kind of says something.
The Showtime Lakers, the 83 Sixers, the 72 Lakers, obviously the Jordan Bulls. I would say no. I don't think the Miami teams were all-time great. They were good, but they won 2. We know they should have won at least another one. And LeBron.
They should have won 3. They won 2, and they squeaked out by a miracle against the San Antonio Spurs in 2013.
And Wade were so great individually that they won, but were they a great fit? Not really. So, and obviously the Cleveland team wasn't all-time great. We got the Golden State teams too. He has to have an all-time great team. How can you be the GOAT when we can't point to one of your teams and say, that's one of the best ever, maybe the best ever? So if him and AD can win 3 in a row, they definitely are an all-time great team. That's what it would take.
Bruce.
The 2020 Los Angeles Lakers were not an all-time great team. They were a good team with veterans and 2-star players on their team. I never really cared too much about the 2020 Lakers on a couple things. I like their team chemistry, even though this is kind of on one of the last things. But bringing in Jared Dudley, bringing in, who was it, for example? Like Dwight Howard, Rondo, and some of these other guys. I knew they were going to win the championship, but another reason was they clicked together. It was championship or bust. They had great chemistry, but they weren't an all-time great team. Their bench could have used some makeup and some work. They didn't have a true point guard. You move LeBron to the point guard position, and then you put KCP as your 3, Danny Green at the 2, AD at the 4, then Dwight and JaVale at the 5 a couple times. It was kind of weird. It was a weird mix. It didn't flow as well. I think, and I've always stated, they should have always had Rondo being at the point guard, Danny at the 2, LeBron at the 3, AD at the 4, and Dwight at the 5. I think that would have been more traditional and a little more fluid in their offense. But the 2020 Lakers, they were a great team. But I think they have a lot more potential on their roster changes and roles and players. Meaning, I actually expect the 2021 Los Angeles Lakers, I think they're going to resemble the 2013 Miami Heat. I think LeBron's going to be rejuvenated with the championship. He's going to be on another level with Anthony Davis, and I expect them to get a 3rd-star player. I expect them to either get Bradley Beal or Chris Paul, something in that mix. And I think you're going to find a lot of veterans taking veteran minimum type deals to join that Lakers team. I think they're going to be stacked. I really do. I think they're going to let go of Danny Green and Kyle Kuzma. They're going to get that team better, and this is how the NBA is going to make it in the works for them to repeat. I would love for them to get Chris Paul. I've always stated that. I doubt they get Bradley Beal. I doubt that the Wizards would make a trade for Kyle Kuzma, Danny Green, and picks, anything like that. They can get something better. Anything besides that, Victor Oladipo, I don't care too much about that. People kind of threw out Derrick Rose. I don't care for that as well. I'd rather have Rondo as your starting point guard, LeBron or CP3 than Derrick Rose. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how the offseason works out for them.
Here is what I hate about takes like your own. I'm not going to say I hate your take. I'm not going to personalize it.
That's better than yours.
I'm going to say, here's what I hate about takes like your own. You cherry pick stats. We've only ever seen three-peats in modern NBA history. Have we?
How's that cherry picking? Listen, only like three or four have actually three-peated in the modern era in NBA basketball. Actually, no, that's with Bill Russell. And two of them were Shaq and Kobe on the same team. The other two, you had Mike and you had Bill Russell. And Mike was in the modern era, and he three-peated twice. How's that cherry picking?
Ever seen a guy in modern NBA history go to 9 out of 10 NBA finals? No, let's just turn the blind eye to that. Let's cherry pick stats. I watch another network in which they cherry pick stats.
Okay, I'm more impressed with the cat who won 2 three-peats, never lost an NBA finals, than someone who's been to the finals 10 times and only winning 4 of them. In a day and age to where you started player mobility of joining a quote-unquote super team and leaving every 4 years and having all the resources that you have. No.
And they pick their criteria in which they classify Jordan as the greatest. Well, he was a 9 or 10-time NBA scoring champion in the regular season. Well, why don't we?
LeBron has had all these resources with player mobility, free agency, joining teams, trading players, being the GM, all this power, and he's underachieved in his career. Listen, LeBron winning 4 championships is great and amazing, and that's higher than pretty much any other player leading a team. But LeBron James, with all the resources he had in power, that's underachieving to what he could have had. Right now, LeBron should have around 5 or 6 chips if he played his cards right and would have done everything right. That's not the case. Michael Jordan overachieved in his career, and LeBron James has underachieved so far. That's just facts.
Talk about assist champion, because that wouldn't help Michael Jordan's argument. You cherry pick a stat for your argument, Broussard, and that is my problem with people like you who make these arguments based off cherry picking. So you want to give me a classification saying this: well, he didn't play on one of the all-time greatest teams, therefore he can't be one of the all-time greatest players. I would argue Tom Brady hasn't played on one of the all-time greatest teams. No, I mean, you said that LeBron doesn't have one of the all-time greatest teams.
I didn't say he's the GOAT.
Fair,
but he's clearly an all-time great.
Yes, but
I said he wasn't the GOAT.
The nucleus of that statement is LeBron's not the GOAT because he doesn't have one of the all-time greatest teams.
No, reverse. He said one of the reasons why he's not the GOAT is that. That's not the main reason.
But again, push back and say Tom Brady does not have one of the all-time greatest teams. Even if you want to go 07, they didn't win the Super Bowl.
Well, listen, Tom Brady has the most championships all time as a leading player in the NFL. He's got 6. I mean, LeBron James is 4-6 in the finals. He's got 4 chips. You got Michael Jordan with 6 championships. Tom Brady's not looking at a player with 8 chips right now. No.
You think about 85 Bears. You think of the Dolphins. So you can't cherry pick a stat that services your argument, Cruz Broussard, just to make an argument, blind the eyes of the masses, feed them what you are feeding them, and expect them.
Bro, look. Look at Marcellus Wiley on the left side for the past minute or two. This kid's childish.
Digest it.
My co-host. What's up, Chris?
But Acho, Brady has more Super Bowls than anybody else.
Oh.
That's the difference. LeBron doesn't.
Fair.
Another thing is this, Acho, and this is one reason I say he's got to get 2. It's not to equal Jordan with 6. It is to be at least 500 in the finals.
Okay.
That would mean a lot to people.
Fair.
He would equal Jordan with 6, and then getting to 12 becomes, my gosh, he won as much as Jordan and got there twice as much. You got to give him the nod.
Yeah, and LeBron pretty much 60% of his career would be in the finals. And if he won 6 chips, even though he has 6 losses, being at 500 and being tied with Michael Jordan all time, people are not going to really condemn him too much on the 6 finals losses. Now, they could have said that could have been room for improvement to where he could have won more. But, I mean, winning that much, that's unbelievable still.
Yes. Now, see, I've never heard that quality of a take. That is a good take. If somebody's, and that's what I've told Marcellus, though. If he can go 6 for 12, now it's like, bruh, he won 6 and got there twice as much. If our biggest knock on LeBron James is that he went to too many finals, then what the heck kind of foolish logic do we function with as a society that...
Yeah, but if you're quote-unquote the GOAT, and if you've been to the championship round 12 times, and you've only won 6 times, and some of them with some super teams or, you know, joining free agency and having player mobility on different teams, picking and choosing rosters, 12 different times in the finals, and you only win half of that 6, you're not the greatest of all time compared to the guy who went to 6, won all 6, and three-peated twice, and dominated and took over the league, you know, pretty much 6 out of those 7 years.
critique sports?
Yeah, well, look, that was some hell of a fighting right there, but the referee stayed out of it. I have to give the nod to Chris Broussard. Yeah, you got him that time. LeBron's already the GOAT in my mind, but I'm not going to waste y'all time and argue this right now.
Typical fanboy with the club with Mr. Shannon Sharp and Nick Wright. LeBron's not the GOAT. He can be the GOAT. For me, it has to be 7 championships, and I'm not being petty or too much on LeBron James, but when you've had player mobility, all these resources to pretty much take over the league and make it a fantasy type, and you're 4-6 in the finals, there's a problem on your side, man.
I know there's an argument out there to make. Here's the thing that's going to really help LeBron James. One is a minor one and one is a major one. Let's start with the major one. He just won a championship with the Los Angeles Lakers. That is a different megaphone than winning one with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Miami Heat. Let's just be real about this. The elevation of this championship and maybe more championships will help him in this conversation because Michael Jordan, as great as he is and great as he was, only had one franchise really megaphoning his greatness. And it led to all of this. But boy, if LeBron James can walk into Lakerville, when people were saying, how can LeBron James even be an all-time Laker last year? And now if he wins more championships going forward, oh, the Laker faithful, which is the greatest, grandest fan base out there, would sing his praises to close this conversation. The last one is a minor point. I don't know if people really care about competition, and I know Michael Jordan's amazing, and that level of play was more difficult in some respects. But LeBron ain't being guarded by Craig Elo and them dudes, man. LeBron, the perimeter defense, the perimeter players, the level of players that LeBron has to go against is a little different, Chris Broussard, even you have to respect that, than what Michael Jordan had to go through. This ain't no Byron Russell out there, you know what I'm saying?
Michael Jordan got hand checked. And then when Michael Jordan got to the paint, he got hammered.
That ain't a player.
And when he had to finish at the rim.
Yeah, when Michael Jordan finished at the rim, that was in the league full of centers. Michael Jordan changed the whole era and game to where you could win with a guard as your number one option. Back then, you had to be a center. You had to be a Hakeem. You had to be a Patrick Ewing, a Bill Russell, a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, geez.
He had to finish over.
And Michael Jordan averaged 33 a game, taking both mid-range, outside, and inside. And he would average around 55% field goal percentage.
The best era of 7-footers ever. Ewing, Shaq, Olajuwon, Robinson, Mourning. When LeBron gets to the paint, first of all, they can't hand check you. Secondly, when you get into the paint, there's nobody there. Come on. I can't go with you on that one, Mike.
All right, you know, I'm going to stop it on this. LeBron James does have he's got a couple more years to go to prove himself, and I hate how people say he's the GOAT right now because you lower the bar so low if LeBron's the GOAT right now to where it's like, what does LeBron have to chase anymore? That's ridiculous. He's not the GOAT. He's only got 4 chips. He's got to get at least 6 to where you can have that 1A, 1B discussion and throughout here, there.